In this book, I'm going to share about how I went from engaging in negative self-talk about myself and my body to loving all of me. About how I shifted my coping mechanisms from eating and drinking my feelings to hiking my feelings. And how you can learn to hike your feelings too. Although Catalina is famous for its beautiful ocean views and rugged backcountry, the gift of that first hike, and the second one a year and a half later, was not just my appreciation of the outer wilderness I climbed, stumbled, and trudged through, but the exploration of my own inner wilderness. These were life-changing experiences that helped me heal my mind and body from trauma and disease. You have a wilderness in you too, and in this book, I'm going to offer a framework to help you blaze your own trail to self-love and healing. Get outside. Throughout this book, I'm going to be encouraging you to go for a hike, and I want to be clear here. Please don't think you have to take off on a grand hiking adventure like I did. If you don't have access to hiking trails, or if you're just starting out and aren't ready for a big hike yet, it can be as simple as walking around your neighborhood and building from there. Maybe you have a different activity of choice like rock climbing, running, kayaking, fishing, gardening, riding your bike, or paddleboarding. Perhaps you're where I was back in 2016. Ass firmly planted on the couch, but knowing you're ready to take the next step. The main thing is to move your body somewhere outdoors, free from the distractions of the hyper-connected world we're living in. At the very least, leave your headphones at home, save your favorite podcast for another day, and tuck your phone into your pocket or a backpack. By removing the points of connection to technology and the expectations of the society we live in, we can more clearly hear our inner voice and pay attention to the signals our bodies give us. Hike your own hike. Hike your own hike serves as a reminder to honor your process. We all start somewhere, and if you're brand new to this, like I was before my first trek on the TCT, I invite you to take an analytical approach to your first few hikes. Pretend you're a scientist, and each hike is an experiment. We're just out here collecting data so we can make more informed choices in the future. This is helpful for everything, including trying out new gear, exploring new trails, and hiking with others. If you try on a pair of shoes and they're uncomfortable, exchange them for the proper size. If you're attempting a new trail and you find yourself running out of energy faster than you thought, make note of the distance that was comfortable for you and dial back the mileage on your next hike. If you're hiking with a group and find yourself pulling up the rear, back of the bus, last in line, resist the temptation to feel like you're less than the faster hikers and revel in what your body is capable of. On and off the trail, comparison is the thief of joy, and we can have a much more pleasant experience if we allow ourselves to move at our own pace in our own way. Welcome to your trail of life. If you haven't discovered this already, one of the things you'll quickly learn is that hiking is a lot like life. There are ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of absolute bliss and beauty, and many moments of struggle. In the Trail of Life section at the end of each chapter, I'll be zooming out from my experiences on the Trans-Catalina Trail and connecting the dots between what was happening on the hike and what had happened in my life. I'll reflect on how those lessons learned along the way help me blaze my own trail to self-love and how they can help you too. They say hindsight is 20/20, and we can only connect the dots backwards, so we'll use the Trail of Life to understand where we came from, how we got to where we are today, and how we want to integrate our experiences in the future. In my time facilitating healing journeys in nature for folks from all walks of life, one thing has become clear. When you know where you've been, it's much easier to move forward with an open heart. Unpack your trauma pack. We each carry an invisible backpack full of our experiences on this trail of life. I lovingly call this my trauma pack, and for the first 3 decades of my life, I had no idea I was carrying all of this extra weight. In fact, it wasn't until I started backpacking in 2016 that I was able to slow down enough to tune into my inner wilderness. As a result, I was able to feel the weight of everything I'd been avoiding. It was heavy. We're all walking around with our own traumas, and they can be triggered by many different things. In these pages, I'll be sharing about the experiences that filled my trauma pack, the activities and rituals that helped me unpack its contents, and the tools I used to lighten my load. Some of the items in my trauma pack are toxic relationships, body image issues, verbal and emotional abuse, suicide, cancer, sudden death, chronic illness, and sexual assault, to name a few. I also talk about how I almost pooped my pants on the trail, so it's not all doom and gloom. I promise this story ends on a high note.